What's the thing about the good old days? You know all of these. When I was your age, we used to go out on the street to play. In the good old days, you could have a whole loaf of bread for that money. But it's not only the others saying it, right? Ever caught yourself with the thought, when I was younger, I didn't have that problems making friends. Where has our openness gone? But maybe being honest to yourself, you can't really relate to those quotes. You're just happy with the day. And no worries, I think that's the way it should be. Still, most of the people, and I think that's totally normal too, inside in the good old days, in the conversations from time to time. Why is this? It'd be easy to argue that it all comes down to nostalgia. Remembering the good moments, not the struggles. We're not wasting our capacities and our energy conserving the bad moments. I mean, that's fair. It leads to distorted memory, which leads us to the misconductions that the old times are better. But it's not only nostalgia. There's a subculture in the internet arguing whether the good old days actually have been that good. And they even have their own Wikipedia article. Let's start with giving the good old days a shot. First of all, it's gotta be said, and you cannot lie, the good old days have a place in the hearts of all of us. I mean, who wouldn't want to play like we did when we were childs? But consider this. We all live with some sort of uncertainty. Uncertainty, first of all, means that we don't know what the future looks like. And we don't have to. A big amount of people struggles with who they want to be in the so-called place, your future life, that teachers and grandparents and investment programs talk about. To cement it, we don't know the future. But we do know the past, the old days. So let's make this an equation. Uncertainty about the future equals being afraid. Now the fun thing about equations is that, well, at least in maths, they stay true if you change the same thing on both sides. So we could add 1 on both sides, or multiply both sides by 2, or invert both sides. And that's where it becomes interesting. So what we had was uncertainty about the future equals being afraid. Now we have certainty about the past equals being confident. Put in words, it's easier to happily talk about how you spent the last couple of months working out than to say with conviction how great you're gonna nail the next ones. This uncertainty derives of one thing we all share, regardless of our backgrounds. Uncertainty is, so to say, insecurity's developed self, the older, more fit for society brother that is easier to talk about. But our insecurities may feel overrun by only looking at our uncertainties, but only regarding it in the long run. Insecurity means that we sometimes fear the future because we don't know how to behave in the present at the first place. Let's illustrate that with an example. One of the major insecurities we all have from time to time is to find out how we want to present ourselves to others. This especially is the case when we don't know each other so well. Common situation? Small talk. Sometimes we talk about what we like doing, but unless you find out you share a common interest, most of the time it stays superficial. Possibly you say something like, I love to travel. By the way, I made a video on this exact sentence, how it's really popular, but tempting to say, still misleading and a double standard. You find it linked here and in the end. But if you can't find a connection that way, the way out is often to complain about something. Because you're probably more likely to discover disliking both of you share than an interest. Picture the queue of an event. Oh, this has gone faster in the past. Do the doorman sleep today? Is probably more likely to be heard than, oh, I'm so super excited what the first song is gonna be. Anyway, in small talk you obviously search for a topic to complain about that is likely to be seen the same way by the person you're talking to. And that's where the circle closes. You don't talk about what you adore in the present as you fear it. And as the person you're speaking to is likely to have some sort of insecurity about the present as well, you can safely use the present situation as a negative point of reference to talk about what has been brighter, shinier, faster or better in the past. I'm obviously not free of it. Still, I think the tendency to complain about something as a way out of the lack of courage for the present situation is not the fine English way. I want to do better. And I guess you want it too, otherwise you probably wouldn't be watching till now. So to be able to overcome complaining, we must first find out where it comes from. Philosophers of all centuries have fought the eloquent battles about it. Still none of them was able to prove that humans were born to complain. And no brain researcher found a central or knot of complaining inside our brains. So it must come from somewhere else. What researchers were able to find out, you won't believe it, is that humans are animals. And the longest part of its existence, the human brain had the main goal to survive. All its actions and commands were aimed towards that single goal. That means human behavior is heavily formed by survival instincts. And all our actions can be traced back to at least one of them. Could we use that knowledge to explain our tendency to complain rather than to face our visions and dreams in the present? As so often, it makes sense to listen to what a pro in a specific field says. Meet Will Bowen, the founder of the complaint-free movement, 5-time international best-selling author and a top keynote speaker at conferences for businesses and associations worldwide. Bowen had an outstanding TED Talk on the topic of complaining. It's linked in the video description below. In the talk, Bowen refers to an acronym which helps to explain why we complain. It's called gripe. And this is what gripe stands for. G, get attention. If you want it in the short form, the G is sufficient. We humans need attention. We developed to be group animals. Getting attention by others is crucial to secure our survival. If we can't supply ourselves, people must be aware of us to be able to help us. Also emotionally, being alone is a huge challenge for us. Not communicating with others can lead to serious mental problems. Complaining is one of the easiest ways to get attention. Remove responsibility. This one's huge as well. If we complain about our circumstances or others, it wasn't us who failed the task. And the motive is clear. Who wants to be responsible for failure? This could lower our reputation or rank in a group. Inspire envy. We like it when others envy us or our achievements. It makes us feel good. And even better is the secondary effect of it. Others see us being envied. Our reputation and social rank rises, and to reduce it down to our instincts, our mating chances rise, meaning the survival of our line is more probable. P, power. Being an animal is all about power. Who's the first one to eat the just hunted food? Who gets cared for if many individuals need help at the same time? Bragging about your skills is widely seen as a negative character trait, whereas complaining about them isn't, though it has the same effect. How does this sound? This summer I'm traveling to Bali. What do you do? Or would you rather say, oh, unfortunately, I can't come to your event as I'm going to Bali. Man, I wish I'd stay at home. E, excuse bad performance. I keep it short as I think it to be similar to R. Remove responsibility. Bad performance and failing to live up to one's responsibility can decrease your social status and thus again your mating and survival chances. Whoa. Hold on. Isn't this making a mountain out of a molehill? Isn't much about our daily conversations just about having some fun? And isn't it nice that where the whole world stands upon its head, there's at least one thing that people can agree on? The good old times? Let's have a brief look at why the good old days think the good old days have been better, as it's actually quite entertaining. So you see, there's a lot of nostalgia involved. Nostalgia is a great feeling. If you ever want yourself to be carried away with it, I can only recommend the album Back Home Again by John Denver. Nevertheless, it's nostalgia. It's not fact-based. What therefore is fact-based is the Human Development Index. This index is the most popular way to measure the overall development of a country respective of its inhabitants. It's composed by the factors life expectancy, education and income per capita. A higher value means better development. As you can see, in nearly all countries, the index's value has risen in the last 30 years. Regarding this data, you definitely can't claim that the world population situation was better in the past. I think we can even say the overall situation improves. Well, at least it's heading in the right direction. And it lies on us to speed up the process. To bring it to an end, how so often, there is no exact answer. The overall development of us humans continues. In some aspects, things got a little more stiff. Some things have went from wild west to a bureaucracy odyssey. And sometimes, the good old days are a good old joke. Sometimes they might also be an escape from making the best out of the present. I'm interested in your opinion. And also, please feel free to give me feedback on the video as this helps me the most. Have a good day.